Chapter 1. Smoke and Mirrors. Cole Harrington glanced at his watch. 2:47 a.m. The blue glow of his computer monitor illuminated his unshaven face as he reviewed the complex algorithm one final time. A gentle vibration from his phone broke his concentration. Still at the office? Don't forget my party tomorrow. Big announcement to make. Tessa. Cole rubbed his tired eyes. After 14 years of marriage to Tessa, he should have been used to her dismissive tone, but something in her recent behavior had shifted. The cold distance had transformed into something more deliberate, almost cruel. As founder of Nexus Security Solutions, Cole had built his cybersecurity empire from nothing, working 18-hour days to establish a reputation that made even the Pentagon call when they needed consultation. Yet his success paled in comparison to Tessa's meteoric rise at Altura Pharmaceuticals. In 3 short years, she'd gone from senior researcher to director of product development under CEO Bradford Reeves. To the outside world, they were the perfect power couple. Cole knew better. His phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from his longtime friend and employee, Dominic Walsh. Found something unusual in those files. We need to talk before you go home. Cole frowned. 2 weeks ago, he'd noticed irregularities in Tessa's behavior. Late nights, password changes on her devices, and that unfamiliar cologne on her blazer. Something his grandmother once told him echoed in his mind. Trust is given, loyalty is earned, and betrayal is never forgotten. Dominic knocked on his office door before entering, his expression grave. Remember that encrypted backup you asked me to recover from Tessa's old laptop? I finally cracked it. Dominic handed him a USB drive. There's a folder of deleted messages. I didn't read them, but the timestamps matched those nights she claimed to be working late. Cole inserted the drive. Thanks. Go home to Marissa and the kids. It's late. After Dominic left, Cole opened the files. What he found made his blood run cold. Hundreds of messages between Tessa and Bradford Reeves. Intimate, detailed, planning rendezvous while Cole was traveling for work. The affair had been going on for nearly a year. Cole leaned back in his chair, his face expressionless. The pain that should have surfaced was immediately eclipsed by something darker. A cold, calculated rage that clarified rather than clouded his thinking. His phone rang. It was his mother. Cole, sweetheart, just confirming we're still coming to Tessa's celebration tomorrow. Your father is so proud of her promotion. Cole's jaw tightened. His parents had always favored Tessa, seeing in her the success they wished their son had achieved more conventionally. Yes, Mom. Everyone will be there. Wonderful. Oh, and don't forget to pick up the special champagne she likes. After hanging up, Cole opened his safe and removed a small black notebook, his contingency plan for every major client, competitor, and potential threat. He opened to a blank page and wrote a single name, Bradford Reeves. Below it, he added, strategy required. Chapter 2. The Beautiful Lie. The Altura Pharmaceuticals corporate penthouse gleamed with success and opulence. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered panoramic views of the city, while servers circulated with champagne and artisanal hors d'oeuvres. Tessa Harrington commanded the room in her crimson dress, laughing with colleagues and accepting congratulations on her promotion to executive vice president. Cole stood near the bar, nursing a whiskey. His mother approached, her smile tight with disapproval. Cole, darling, why aren't you mingling? This is Tessa's big night. Just enjoying the view, Mom. His father joined them, clapping him on the shoulder. Son, you need to network more. Half the biotech industry is here. Could be good for your computer business. Cole nodded, familiar with his father's dismissive attitude toward his work. Gregory Harrington had never understood why his son had turned down law school to pursue cybersecurity. Across the room, Bradford Reeves entered, his tailored suit and silver hair projecting authority and success. At 52, he had divorced 3 years ago and became one of the city's most eligible bachelors. The crowd parted as he made his way to Tessa, placing a hand on the small of her back as he whispered something in her ear. Cole watched as Tessa's eyes flashed with desire, poorly disguised as professional admiration. Isn't Bradford remarkable? Cole's mother commented. He's taking the company public next quarter. Tessa says the IPO will make history. Remarkable indeed, Cole replied, taking another sip of his whiskey. An hour later, dinner was served. Cole found himself directed to a side table with distant colleagues, while Tessa sat at the center with Bradford and the board members. When the servers brought out the main course, Wagyu beef with truffle reduction, Cole was handed a plate of what appeared to be leftover appetizers and garnishes. He looked up questioningly at the server, who shrugged apologetically and murmured, "Mrs. Harrington's instructions." Tessa approached his table with two of her friends, champagne flute in hand. "My wife threw a huge party for her bonus. She handed me a plate of scraps. Even a dog gets better, but you're used to it," she said to her friends. My parents nodded along. I ate in silence. Cole felt every eye in the room on him. His parents, seated nearby, offered no support. His mother even gave a small laugh as if Tessa had made a harmless joke. Cole maintained his composure, methodically eating the scraps while cataloging every face that witnessed his humiliation. Suddenly, Bradford Reeves appeared at his table, his presence commanding immediate attention. To everyone's shock, he sat down across from Cole and signaled the server. "Bring me exactly what Mr. Harrington is having," he ordered. The room fell silent as Bradford began eating from an identical plate of scraps. "Exquisite," Bradford announced. Sometimes the simplest foods reveal the most about character. Then, in a move that left the crowd gasping, Bradford removed his Seville road jacket and bent down to wipe a scuff from Cole's shoes. Suddenly, her CO burst in and started eating the same food as mine. Then he cleaned my shoes with his Gucci suit, saying, "OMG, she doesn't realize her mistake." My wife froze as the CEO whispered, "Your wife clearly doesn't understand who she's dealing with," Bradford said, his voice low but audible to those nearby. "I've been following your work in quantum encryption for years. The Pentagon doesn't call just anyone." Cole studied Bradford's face, searching for deception, but finding only calculated sincerity. Tessa stood frozen, her champagne flute trembling slightly as Bradford straightened and addressed the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, while we celebrate Tessa's promotion tonight, I'd like to acknowledge another brilliant mind in our midst. Cole Harrington's security protocols are protecting half the Fortune 500, including our company. To overlooked genius." Bradford raised his glass, and the room followed, confusion evident on many faces, none more so than Tessa's. As the party resumed, Bradford leaned closer to Cole. "Meet me tomorrow. My office, 9 a.m. We have something important to discuss." His smile never reached his eyes. "And bring your contingency notebook." Cole felt a chill. How could Bradford know about his private notebook? Across the room, Tessa's face had transformed from shock to thinly veiled panic as she watched the two men speaking. Chapter 3: Pawns and Kings. Cole arrived at Bradford's office precisely at 9 a.m., his black notebook tucked into his jacket pocket. The Altura Executive Suite occupied the top floor of a gleaming tower downtown, offering commanding views of the city below. Bradford's assistant, a sharp-eyed woman named Helena, greeted him with professional courtesy. "Mr. Reeves is expecting you, Mr. Harrington. Would you like coffee before you go in?" "No, thank you," Cole replied, studying her. "How long have you worked for Mr. Reeves?" 15 years, she answered, a flicker of something, pride, complicity, crossing her face. "I've been with him through all his transitions." Bradford's office door opened, and the CEO himself appeared, impeccably dressed as always. "Cole, right on time. Come in, please." Once inside the expansive office, Bradford gestured toward a sitting area rather than his imposing desk. "I imagine you have questions about last night," Bradford began once they were seated. "A few," Cole acknowledged, revealing nothing in his expression. Bradford steepled his fingers. "Your wife has been having an affair." "With me?" Cole's face remained impassive, which seemed to please Bradford. No displays of shocked outrage. "Good. That confirms what I suspected about you." Bradford leaned forward. "Here's what you don't know. I orchestrated the affair to get to you." Cole allowed one eyebrow to rise slightly. 3 years ago, your security firm prevented a cyber attack that would have stolen intellectual property from Altura, specifically my breakthrough cardiac medication formula. I later learned it was your personal intervention, not your team's, that stopped it. The attack originated from my chief competitor, Radiant Pharmaceuticals. Bradford's expression hardened. Their CEO, Victor Kane, and I have a complicated history. Why are you telling me this? Cole asked. Because Kane hasn't stopped. My sources tell me he's planning something bigger. Not just stealing my research, but destroying Altura entirely. I need your expertise. And my wife? Where does she figure in this plan of yours? Bradford waved dismissively. Tessa was the easiest way to observe you up close. Brilliant in her field, certainly, but remarkably susceptible to flattery and ambition. The affair was simply expedient, a means to understand what motivates you. Cole felt the rage building inside him, but kept it carefully contained. You used her to get to me, and now you're betraying her to forge an alliance? Business isn't personal, Cole. Bradford smiled coldly. Though I suspect last night felt very personal to you. What exactly do you want from me? Bradford stood and walked to his desk, returning with a file. Victor Kane isn't just my business rival. 20 years ago, he was my research partner and my wife's lover. When our initial cardiac formula showed promise, he stole it, along with my wife, and tried to patent it himself. I managed to prove the theft, but the scandal destroyed my marriage. Cole took the file and scanned it. Revenge seems to be a motivating factor for you. Justice, Bradford corrected, which I believe you're currently seeking yourself. Cole closed the file. If you orchestrated this affair to recruit me, why allow Tessa to humiliate me publicly? Bradford's smile turned predatory. 2 reasons. First, to see how you'd respond under extreme pressure. Your control was impressive. Second, to create a situation where Tessa would lose all credibility when the truth comes out. He paused. I've already selected her replacement. The promotion was merely theatrical. Cole studied the man across from him. Calculating, ruthless, seeing people as pieces on a chessboard. A mirror of what Cole himself could become if he surrendered fully to the rage inside him. And if I refuse to help you? Then you leave with all the evidence of your wife's infidelity, but none of the resources I can offer for whatever you're planning. Bradford gestured to Cole's jacket pocket. That notebook isn't just for contingencies against enemies, is it? It's for everyone who might betray you, including Tessa. Cole stood. I'll consider your offer. As he reached the door, Bradford added, Last night wasn't just about observing you, Cole. It was about giving you a gift, the perfect justification for whatever you choose to do next. No one who witnessed that humiliation would blame you. Cole left without responding, his mind already calculating possibilities, strategies, and outcomes. In the elevator, he removed his phone and sent a text to Dominic. Need complete background on Victor Kane and all Radiant Pharmaceuticals executives. Priority. When he arrived home, the house was empty. Tessa had left a note at my parents' house. Need time to think. We should talk tomorrow. Cole crumpled the note and dropped it into the trash. Opening his notebook, he began to write, forming a plan that would change everything. Not just for Tessa and Bradford, but for everyone who had witnessed his humiliation and done nothing. On the first page, he wrote, Operation Glasshouse. Chapter 4, The Art of War. Cole sequestered himself in his home office for the next 48 hours, emerging only for coffee and to receive the files Dominic delivered personally. Tessa called repeatedly, then texted with increasing urgency, but Cole maintained his silence. Please come to my parents' house so we can talk. I can explain everything. Cole, at least tell me you're okay. I'm worried about you. Bradford called an emergency board meeting. What did you say to him? On the third day, Cole finally sent a single response. Coming tonight. 8 p.m. Be alone. Dominic sat across from Cole's desk, concern evident on his face. You haven't slept, have you? Cole gestured to the wall, where he'd created an intricate network of connections, photos, documents, and timelines linked with colored string. I've been busy, Cole replied. What did you find on Victor Kane? Dominic handed him a thick folder. The official stuff is what you'd expect. Harvard MBA, aggressive acquisition strategy, 3 marriages. The unofficial material is more interesting. He has gambling debts in Macau, a 26-year-old mistress he installed as community relations director, and he's been selling shares of his own company through shell corporations. Anything connecting him directly to Bradford Reeves beyond their professional history? Yes, Kane's first wife, the one who left Bradford for him, died in a boating accident 6 months after their marriage. Kane collected a substantial insurance payout. Investigation ruled it accidental, but the detective noted inconsistencies in Kane's statement. Cole added this information to his wall, and Bradford's claim about a planned attack on Altura seems legitimate. Our security monitoring picked up unusual probing of Altura's networks last month. Not sophisticated enough to be state-sponsored, but persistent. Cole nodded. What about my parents? Any communication between them and Tessa since the party? Dominic shifted uncomfortably. Cole, are you sure you want me to? All information is relevant, Dom. Dominic sighed. 8 calls from your mother to Tessa. 2 from your father. Content summary from the voice transcripts suggests they're concerned about you, but also advise Tessa to remind you how much your career has benefited from her connections. Cole's expression hardened almost imperceptibly. And my in-laws, Harvey and Melissa Blackwell, have been in contact with Bradford Reeves directly. Appears they're concerned about their daughter's position at Altura, given the current circumstances. Cole made another note on his wall, then checked his watch. I need to get ready for my meeting with Tessa. While I'm gone, I need you to set up untraceable accounts for the transfers we discussed. Dominic hesitated. Cole, I've known you since college. I've never seen you like this. Are you sure you don't want to just what, Dom? Divorce her quietly? Pretend the public humiliation never happened? Except that my own parents took her side? Cole's voice remained even, but his eyes flashed dangerously. Everyone made their choices. Now, they get to live with the consequences. What about Bradford's offer? Are you going to help him against Kane? Cole smiled for the first time in days. I'm going to help everyone get exactly what they deserve. Later that evening, Cole arrived at his in-laws' Tudor-style mansion in the exclusive Lakeview district. Harvey Blackwell, a retired judge, had never approved of Cole, considering him beneath his daughter despite his financial success. Tessa opened the door herself, her face showing signs of stress and interrupted sleep. You came, she said softly. Thank you. Cole followed her to the garden patio, where they would have privacy from her parents. In the twilight, surrounded by Harvey's prize-winning roses, Tessa looked both beautiful and fragile in a way that might once have moved Cole. I need to explain about the party, she began. I was drunk and showing off for the board members. It was stupid and cruel, and I'll never forgive myself. Is that all you need to explain? Cole asked, his voice devoid of emotion. Tessa's eyes widened slightly. What did Bradford tell you? Everything. The affair. How it started. Why it started. Cole maintained steady eye contact. His particular interest in me and my company. Tessa sank into a patio chair. It wasn't supposed to happen. He was so attentive, so interested in my research when no one else seemed to care. One late night led to another, and then you decided to humiliate your husband at your celebration, in front of his parents and the entire industry. Cole's voice remained calm. Do you know what's interesting, Tessa? Not once in this explanation have you actually said you're sorry. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Of course I'm sorry. I love you, Cole. The affair was a terrible mistake. Bradford means nothing to me. It was just flattery and excitement. What did Bradford tell you after the party? Tessa looked away. He said I'd misjudged the situation badly, that he'd only pursued me to get closer to you and your security expertise, that my promotion would be reconsidered. Her voice broke. He's destroying my career, Cole. Everything I've worked for. Cole nodded slowly. And that's what matters most to you, isn't it? Your career, your reputation. That's not fair, Tessa protested. I care about us, about our marriage. Tell me something, Tessa. That night at the party, when you handed me that plate of scraps and made your little joke about dogs, did you feel powerful? Did it feel good to show everyone that the great Tessa Blackwell Harrington had outgrown her husband? Tessa's silence was answer enough. I came here tonight to tell you two things, Cole continued. First, I'll be moving your personal items to storage this week. The house keys have been changed. You're locking me out of our home? Tessa gasped. You can't do that legally. Actually, I can. The house is solely in my name. Your idea, if you recall, to protect your assets during our risky startup phase. I'm sure your father, the judge, can explain the implications. Tessa's shock turned to anger. And the second thing? Bradford Reeves didn't fire you. Yet, he's waiting for my decision on a potential collaboration between our companies. Hope flickered in Tessa's eyes. So, you could help me keep my position? Cole studied her for a long moment. 14 years of marriage. And that's your question? Not whether I'll forgive you or if we can save our relationship, but whether I'll help you keep your job. He stood to leave. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, Tessa. But I promise you this. When I'm finished, everyone will receive exactly what they've earned. As Cole walked back through the house, Harvey Blackwell stepped from his study. Running away instead of working things out, the older man challenged. Typical. Cole stopped. Judge Blackwell, given your distinguished career on the bench, I've always respected your commitment to justice. So let me ask you, what would be a just outcome here? The older man frowned. Marriage has difficulties. Tessa made a mistake, but destroying her career out of revenge is beneath you. Interesting that you immediately assume I'd target her career rather than, say, her dignity. The way she targeted mine. Cole moved closer. Tell me, if I had publicly humiliated Tessa, slept with her colleague, would you be advising her to reconcile? Or would you be helping her take me for everything I'm worth? Harvey's silence confirmed Cole's suspicion. That's what I thought, Cole said. You know, your daughter takes after you in many ways. You both believe rules apply to everyone except yourselves. As Cole reached his car, his phone buzzed with a message from Bradford. Decision time, Cole. My office tomorrow, 10 a.m. Choose wisely. Chapter 5. Smoke and Mirrors. Bradford Reeves' office seemed different in the morning light. Less imposing, more sterile. Cole arrived precisely at 10 a.m., dressed in a bespoke suit that projected confidence and control. You look better than the last time I saw you, Bradford observed, gesturing for Cole to sit. Have you made your decision? Before I answer, I'd like to understand the complete picture, Cole replied. You mentioned Victor Kane is planning to attack Altura. What's his objective? Bradford walked to the windows overlooking the city. Altura's cardiac medication, CardioFix, has completed final trials with unprecedented success rates. FDA approval is expected within months. Once approved, it will revolutionize treatment for heart failure and generate billions in revenue. And Kane wants to steal the formula. No, he wants to destroy it, and Altura along with it. His own competing drug failed its Phase 3 trial spectacularly last year. If CardioFix succeeds, Radiant Pharmaceuticals becomes irrelevant. Cole nodded. So this is about survival for him. Desperation makes people dangerous. Precisely why I need your expertise. Bradford returned to his seat. My security team is excellent at conventional threats, but Kane operates differently. He finds leverage, personal weaknesses, hidden shames, private vices, and exploits them, like you did with my wife. Cole asked mildly. Bradford had the grace to look briefly uncomfortable. An unfortunate but necessary strategy. The difference is that I'm offering you honesty now, while Kane deals exclusively in deception. Cole leaned forward. Here's what I don't understand. With your resources, you could hire any security firm in the world. Why orchestrate this elaborate scheme to get to me specifically? Because you understand personal vendettas, Bradford said simply. You know how they motivate people, how they blind them. Other security experts see only data points and system vulnerabilities. You see the human element. Cole considered this. And if I agree to help you, what happens to Tessa? That depends on you. I have no further use for her, professionally or otherwise. Her future at Altura, or lack thereof, is a bargaining chip I'm prepared to offer. And what do you get if I help you neutralize Kane? Bradford smiled. Beyond the obvious protection of my company, the satisfaction of finally closing a painful chapter from my past. Kane took everything from me once. I won't allow it to happen again. Cole stood and paced the office, examining the awards and photographs documenting Bradford's rise to pharmaceutical prominence. "I'll help you," Cole finally said, "on 3 conditions." Bradford raised an eyebrow. "Name them." "First, I work independently. My team, my methods, no oversight from your security personnel." "Agreed, with reasonable updates on progress." "Second, Tessa retains her position and promotion for now. Any changes to her employment status happen on my timeline, not yours." Bradford frowned but nodded. "And the third condition? You provide me complete access to Altura's executive files, including yours." "Absolutely not," Bradford replied immediately. "That's beyond the scope of this arrangement." Cole headed for the door. "Then find another security expert. I'm sure there are many who'd be eager to work with the great Bradford Reeves." "Wait," Bradford called. "Limited access to relevant files only, with my prior approval." Cole turned back. "You approached me because I understand vendettas. So you should understand this. I don't trust you, Bradford. I don't trust that your interest in me is solely about Kane, and I don't trust that you've told me everything about your history with him." Bradford stared at him for a long moment. "Fine. Supervised access to executive files relevant to security concerns. That's my final offer." Cole extended his hand. "We have a deal. I'll need office space here and credentials that give me appropriate access. Helena will arrange everything." Bradford shook Cole's hand firmly. "Welcome to Altura, Mr. Harrington." As Cole left Bradford's office, Helena handed him a security badge and a folder of orientation materials. "Mr. Reeves has assigned you Office 2110. It's being prepared now." Her efficient tone softened slightly. "For what it's worth, Mr. Harrington, I've never seen him compromise on file access before. You've made quite an impression." Cole studied her carefully. "Helena, you worked with Bradford for 15 years. In your opinion, what drives him more, success or retribution?" She maintained her professional demeanor, but something flickered in her eyes. "Mr. Reeves is a complicated man. I believe he sees them as one and the same." Within hours, Cole had established a secondary workspace at Altura. Dominic joined him, bringing equipment and specialized software that raised eyebrows among Altura's IT staff. "Are we really hunting for corporate spies? Or is this part of something else?" Dominic asked quietly as they set up their systems. "Both," Cole replied. "Bradford is telling the truth about Kane targeting Altura, but he's lying about why he brought me in." "How can you be sure?" Cole pulled up a document on his secure tablet. "Because I've been monitoring Bradford's private communications since the party. Look at this message to his lawyer from yesterday." Dominic read the screen and whistled softly. "He's preparing to sell Altura right before the FDA approval. And right before their IPO," Cole confirmed. "Something doesn't add up. Helping Bradford against Kane isn't the endgame. It's just the opening move." "What about Tessa? Have you spoken to her since last night?" Cole's expression darkened. "She's been calling and texting. I haven't responded." Dominic hesitated. "Cole, I've been your friend for 20 years. I've never seen you like this. Are you sure you don't want to just walk away from all of this? Tessa, Bradford, all of it." "Did you know my parents called me last night?" Cole said instead of answering directly. "Not to ask how I was doing after discovering my wife's affair. No, they called to remind me how much my small security company has benefited from Tessa's connections and to suggest I consider the practical aspects of reconciliation." "They've always been tough on you," Dominic acknowledged. "It's not about being tough. It's about basic loyalty." Cole's voice remained calm, but his eyes had turned cold. "Every person involved in this situation has shown their true character. Now, they'll experience the consequences of their choices." Cole's phone buzzed with a text from Bradford. "Board meeting tomorrow, 3 p.m. Your presence requested to discuss security initiatives. Formal announcement of partnership. Tomorrow we make our first move," Cole told Dominic. "Start the data collection protocols we discussed. I want everything: board communications, research files, financial transfers, and personal communications where legally accessible. What should I tell the team about what we're looking for?" Cole looked through the glass walls of his new office at the bustling Altura headquarters. Somewhere in this building, Tessa was working, probably wondering what her husband was planning. Tell them we're conducting a comprehensive security audit to protect Altura from corporate espionage. Cole's expression revealed nothing of his true intentions, which is entirely accurate, just not complete. Chapter 6. The Silent Storm. The Altura boardroom fell silent as Cole finished his presentation. For the past hour, he had methodically outlined the security vulnerabilities he'd discovered in just 3 days of analysis. Weaknesses that could potentially give Victor Kane access to Altura's most valuable research. As you can see, Cole concluded, gesturing to the complex network diagram displayed on the screen, your current security protocols are fundamentally sound, but contain critical blind spots. These gaps aren't accidental. They've been engineered over time to create specific access points. Bradford Reeves leaned forward. Are you suggesting we have a mole within Altura? The evidence points to deliberate security compromises dating back approximately 18 months, Cole replied. Whether this represents a single insider or multiple compromised employees remains to be determined. The board members exchanged troubled glances. Philip Morrison, the septuagenarian chief financial officer, removed his glasses nervously. What do you recommend, Mr. Harrington? A compartmentalized approach, Cole said, advancing to his next slide. First, we isolate and secure the CardioFix research data using my proprietary encryption system. Second, we implement a digital tripwire network to detect unauthorized access attempts. Third, we monitor all internal communications through a specialized filtering algorithm designed to identify suspicious patterns. That third recommendation sounds potentially invasive, objected Sophia Winters, Altura's general counsel. There are privacy considerations for our employees. Cole turned to her. Ms. Winters, if you prefer, I could simply provide a list of employees who've accessed sensitive files outside normal business hours in the past 6 months, including dates, times, and the specific data they examined. Would that be helpful? Sophia blanched slightly. 3 weeks earlier, she had reviewed confidential merger documents at midnight. A legitimate action, but one she'd told no one about. Your approach seems sound, she conceded. Bradford stood, effectively ending the discussion. The board authorizes Mr. Harrington to implement all recommended security measures immediately. We'll reconvene in 1 week to review progress. He turned to Cole. I believe you've already met my executive vice president, Tessa Harrington. All eyes turned to Tessa, who sat rigid in her chair at the far end of the table. She had carefully avoided eye contact with Cole throughout the meeting. Yes, Cole replied neutrally. Mrs. Harrington and I are acquainted. A ripple of uncomfortable awareness moved through the room. Though nothing had been officially announced, rumors of Tessa's marital problems had begun circulating through Altura's executive ranks. Excellent, Bradford continued smoothly. Mrs. Harrington will serve as your administrative liaison to ensure you have all necessary resources. Tessa's head snapped up, surprise evident on her face. Being assigned as Cole's liaison was effectively a demotion, administrative work far below her position as EVP. Mr. Reeves, she began, given my current responsibilities with the CardioFix launch preparation. This is precisely why you're the ideal liaison, Bradford interrupted. Your intimate knowledge of our flagship product makes you uniquely qualified to understand the security requirements. The double meaning of intimate knowledge was lost on no one. Several board members studied their tablets with sudden interest. Of course, Tessa acquiesced, her professional mask firmly in place despite the humiliation. I'm happy to assist however needed. As the meeting adjourned, Cole gathered his materials, ignoring the curious glances from board members eager to observe any interaction between him and Tessa. Bradford approached, lowering his voice. The liaison assignment, was that too much? I thought it might appeal to your sense of symmetry. My focus is securing your company, not managing my personal affairs, Cole replied coldly. In the future, consult me before making assignments that affect my work. Bradford seemed taken aback by the rebuke, but nodded. Point taken. As the boardroom emptied, Tessa remained seated, clearly waiting for a private word. Cole deliberately took his time organizing his presentation materials until they were alone. Was this your idea? Tessa asked, her voice tight. Having Bradford assign me as your glorified assistant? No, Cole replied honestly, though I'm not surprised by his tactics. He enjoys the manipulation. Like you're enjoying this? Tessa gestured between them. Watching me squirm? Refusing my calls? Moving my things out of our home? Cole finally looked directly at her. I'm not enjoying any of this, Tessa. But unlike you, I'm not pretending this situation is anything other than what it is, the end of our marriage. Tessa's composure cracked. I made a horrible mistake, Cole. I betrayed you in the worst possible way, and I will regret it for the rest of my life. But 14 years together has to count for something. It counted for something right up until you decided it didn't, Cole replied. Right up until you chose to humiliate me publicly and sleep with your boss to advance your career. That's not fair, Tessa protested. The affair was a terrible mistake, but it wasn't calculated. It just happened. Things don't just happen, Tessa. People make choices. Cole gathered his materials. As your liaison assignment demonstrates, Bradford is a vindictive man who enjoys exercising power over others. You chose him as your lover. Now you get to experience what that really means. As he moved toward the door, Tessa called after him. What are you really doing here, Cole? This isn't just about corporate security, is it? Cole paused without turning around. I'm doing exactly what Bradford hired me to do. Identifying vulnerabilities and eliminating threats. The fact that you feel concerned suggests you recognize yourself in that category. Later that evening, Cole met with Dominic in their secure office at Altura. The regular workday had ended, leaving the executive floor mostly deserted. Did you implement the monitoring systems? Cole asked. Dominic nodded. Active on all executive communications channels. Bradford doesn't realize it, but the board authorization you received today gives us legal cover for almost everything we're doing. Almost everything. Well, the parallel system that's tracking Bradford's personal devices might fall into a gray area. Dominic grimaced. Are you sure this is necessary, Cole? The security threat from Kane seems legitimate. We could just do the job we were hired for. Cole pulled up a series of documents on his secure tablet. Look at these financial transfers from Bradford's personal accounts. $5 million to a shell company in the Caymans 3 months ago. Another $7 million last month. He's moving his money offshore while preparing to take Altura public. That's suspicious, but not necessarily illegal, Dominic pointed out. No, but this is... Cole swiped to another document. Bradford has been systematically falsifying certain cardiofix trial results. The medication works, but it has serious side effects in about 8% of patients. Side effects he's buried in the data. Dominic's eyes widened. If that gets out after the IPO, Altura's stock collapses, thousands of patients could be harmed, and Bradford walks away with hundreds of millions while blaming the research team, including Tessa. Cole's expression hardened. He's setting her up to take the fall while he escapes with his fortune. So what's our play here? Turn him in to the FDA? Not yet, Cole replied. First, we need to understand his entire plan. Bradford isn't just running from potential scandal. He's systematically preparing for something specific. The offshore accounts, the falsified data, the accelerated IPO timeline. He knows something we don't. Cole's phone buzzed with a text from Bradford. Need to meet. My house. 10 p.m. Come alone. Critical development with Kane. What do you think? Cole showed Dominic the message. Could be legitimate. Could be a trap. Dominic frowned. You shouldn't go alone. I won't be alone, Cole assured him. I'll have you monitoring everything remotely. Set up the surveillance package we discussed. As Cole prepared to leave, Dominic asked, What about Tessa? Should we tell her what Bradford's planning? Cole paused. Not yet. She made her choice. Now she gets to live with the consequences, at least for a while longer. Later that night, Cole arrived at Bradford's palatial estate in the exclusive Hillcrest neighborhood. The house was an ultra-modern structure of glass and steel, perched on a cliff overlooking the city lights below. A silent security guard escorted Cole through the minimalist interior to a back terrace where Bradford waited, nursing a glass of scotch. Thank you for coming, Bradford said, not bothering to rise. Drink. I prefer to keep a clear head, Cole replied, taking the seat opposite Bradford. You mentioned a critical development with Kane. Bradford studied Cole thoughtfully before responding. Victor contacted me directly today. After years of silence, he suddenly wants to meet, just the two of us, no lawyers, no security. And you're considering it? Cole asked skeptically. I'm considering what it means, Bradford corrected. Victor doesn't make impulsive moves. If he's reaching out now, it's because he's either desperate or confident, neither of which is good for Altura. Cole leaned forward. What exactly did his message say? Bradford pulled out his phone and read, Brad, we both know what's coming. Meet me at the place where it all began. Just us like old times. One chance to avoid mutual destruction. 48 hours. The place where it all began. Our old lab at Westridge University, Bradford explained, where we developed the original cardiac formula before everything fell apart. Cole processed this information. It's almost certainly a trap. Of course it is, Bradford agreed. The question is what kind, and is there a way to turn it to our advantage? As they discussed possibilities, Cole noticed a shadow pass briefly across one of the large windows overlooking the terrace. Someone else was in the house, moving quietly. You told me to come alone, Cole noted casually. I assumed the same applied to you. Bradford smiled thinly. My head of security is inside. Standard procedure for all meetings here. Sensible, Cole acknowledged, though he suspected Bradford was lying. The movement hadn't matched typical security protocols. Their discussion continued for another hour, developing strategies for the potential meeting with Kane. As Cole prepared to leave, Bradford walked him to the door. One more thing, Cole. Your security implementation at Altura. It's been noted that your systems are monitoring all executive communications. As authorized by the board, Cole reminded him. Including mine? Cole met his gaze directly. Especially yours, since you became Kane's primary target. Bradford nodded slowly. Just making sure we understand each other. Good night, Cole. On the drive home, Cole contacted Dominic through their secure channel. Were you able to access Bradford's home system? Yes, Dominic confirmed. And you were right. He had someone else there. Not security. I caught a partial reflection in one of the windows. It was Sophia Winters, Altura's general counsel. Interesting, Cole mused. Pull everything we have on her. And run a deep background check on that meeting location, Westridge University's old research labs. I want to know exactly what happened there 20 years ago between Bradford, Kane, and Bradford's ex-wife. Already on it, Dominic assured him. One more thing. Tessa, try to access your security protocols at Altura today. 3 separate attempts. Cole's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Let her think she failed due to technical issues. Then plant the false data package we prepared in a location she can access. Let's see what she does with it. Cole. Dominic's voice turned serious. How far are you planning to take this? Cole watched the city lights blur past his window. Until recently, I believed there were lines I wouldn't cross, principles I wouldn't compromise. Then I watched my wife humiliate me in front of an entire room of people while my own parents nodded along. His voice remained calm, but took on a chilling certainty. Now I understand there are no lines, Dom. Only consequences. Chapter 7. Checkmate. The abandoned Westridge University research facility stood in eerie silence. Its once state-of-the-art laboratories now outdated and dusty. Cole moved through the shadows, having arrived 2 hours before the scheduled meeting between Bradford and Victor Kane. Dominic's voice came through his discreet earpiece. All surveillance equipment is online. You've got eyes and ears throughout the building. Perfect, Cole murmured. Any movement outside? Nothing yet. But Cole, I've completed that deep background search on what happened here 20 years ago. It's worse than we thought. Give me the highlights. Bradford and Kane weren't just research partners, Dominic explained. They were best friends since childhood. Bradford's wife, Elizabeth, had been Kane's girlfriend in college before choosing Bradford. The three of them founded their first pharmaceutical company together right here in this lab. So the betrayal was personal as well as professional, Cole noted, positioning a final camera in the corner of what appeared to be the main meeting room. Extremely. But here's what doesn't add up. According to court records, Bradford won the lawsuit against Kane for intellectual property theft. Kane's career should have been over, But 6 months later, he somehow secured major funding and launched Radiant Pharmaceuticals. Cole paused. Someone backed him. Someone with resources who wanted to compete against Bradford. That's my guess, Dominic agreed. And one more thing. Elizabeth Reeves didn't just leave Bradford for Kane. She died in that boating accident while Bradford was supposed to be with her. He canceled at the last minute due to work commitments, leaving Kane to take her out on the water instead. Cole processed this information. Bradford blames Kane for her death, but Kane might blame Bradford for not being there to prevent it. Exactly. This isn't just corporate rivalry. It's 20 years of festering hatred. A car's headlights swept across the building's facade. Someone's arriving, Cole reported, moving to his concealed position in an adjacent room. Keep monitoring all channels. Bradford Reeves entered the building alone, his expensive shoes echoing on the tile floor. He moved with purpose, clearly familiar with the layout despite the years that had passed. In the main laboratory, he stopped and stared at an old workbench, running his fingers along its scarred surface. 15 minutes later, another set of headlights appeared. Victor Kane entered, a tall, gaunt man with sharp features and calculating eyes. Unlike Bradford's confident stride, Kane moved cautiously, glancing around as if expecting an ambush. Bradford, Kane acknowledged as he entered the lab, still punctual after all these years. Victor, Bradford replied coldly, still sneaking around like a thief. The two men regarded each other with thinly veiled hostility. You know why I called this meeting, Kane said finally. Enlighten me. CardioFix is going to fail, Bradford. Not because it doesn't work, but because you know it isn't safe for everyone. Those suppressed trial results will eventually come out. Bradford's expression betrayed nothing. Baseless accusations from a desperate competitor. We both know they're not baseless, Kane countered. I have copies of the original trial data before your team edited them. 8% severe adverse reactions is far above acceptable limits. From his hiding place, Cole watched Bradford's micro-expressions shift subtly. Surprise, then calculation. Even if such data existed, it would be inadmissible evidence obtained through corporate espionage, Bradford replied smoothly. Your credibility is non-existent, Victor. No one would believe you over me. Kane smiled thinly. That's why I'm not the one who's going to reveal it. He pulled out his phone. 3 days ago, an anonymous whistleblower sent this evidence to the FDA. Their preliminary investigation begins next week. Bradford's composure finally cracked. You're bluffing. Am I? Check your sources at the FDA. An inquiry team has already been assembled. Kane circled the old workbench. But there's still time to manage this situation. That's why I'm here. What do you want? Bradford asked, his voice hardening. A merger. Altura absorbs Radiant. I become COO, and together we announced that during the combination of our research, we discovered the side effect issues and are already working on a solution. Bradford laughed bitterly. You destroy my company, then propose to save it by making yourself my second in command? Your arrogance is breathtaking. Not arrogance, pragmatism, Kane corrected. The alternative is both our companies collapse when the FDA findings become public. This way we both survive. And Elizabeth? Bradford asked quietly. Does she survive in this scenario? Or do you continue to pretend you had nothing to do with her death? Kane's expression darkened. Elizabeth died because you were too obsessed with your work to join her that day. If you had been on that boat instead of me. If I had been on that boat, she'd still be alive. Bradford's control finally shattered. You were drunk, Victor. The investigation covered it up because your father paid off the medical examiner, but I know the truth. In Cole's earpiece, Dominic's voice was urgent. Cole, I've just intercepted communications. Bradford has a secondary team outside. For armed men. Cole checked the surveillance feeds on his tablet. Confirmed. He's planning to eliminate Kane tonight. Inside the lab, the confrontation continued to escalate. You have until morning to accept my merger proposal, Kane stated. After that, the FDA gets the complete evidence package, including communications showing you were aware of the problems. Bradford's laugh held no humor. You won't live to see morning, Victor. Kane's eyes widened as he recognized the threat. You brought security? We agreed to come alone. I agreed to nothing, Bradford replied coldly. How appropriate that it ends where it began. Cole made a split-second decision and activated the building's old fire alarm system. The sudden blaring caused both men to flinch. What the hell? Kane glanced around wildly. Bradford cursed. Someone else is here. As both men moved toward the exits, Cole transmitted orders to Dominic, deploy countermeasures, and contact the FDA anonymously with everything we've gathered, Bradford's data manipulation, the offshore accounts, and his plan to eliminate Kane. The chaos that followed unfolded with precise choreography. As Bradford's security team rushed the building, they triggered the non-lethal traps Cole had set. Simultaneously, local police responded to an anonymous tip about armed men at the abandoned facility. Bradford and Kane were separated in the confusion, each escaping by different routes. Directly into surveillance that captured their panic phone calls ordering document destruction and hasty evacuations. By midnight, Cole sat in a secured office at Altura, watching news reports of the unfolding scandal. The FDA had announced an emergency investigation into both pharmaceutical companies. Bradford's offshore financial transfers had been flagged by regulatory authorities. And most damaging of all, the full history of Bradford and Kane's deadly rivalry had been leaked to the press, including new evidence suggesting Elizabeth's death may not have been entirely accidental. Tessa burst into his office without knocking, her face pale with shock. "Did you know?" she demanded. "Did you know what Bradford was doing with the trial data?" Cole regarded her calmly. "I discovered it, yes. The FDA is shutting us down pending investigation. The IPO is canceled. Everyone's stock options are worthless." Tessa ran her hands through her hair. "My entire career is in ruins." "Much like my marriage," Cole observed mildly. Tessa stared at him, realization dawning. "You did this. All of it. Bradford hired you to stop a security threat, but you brought everything crashing down instead." "Bradford hired me because he thought he could control me," Cole corrected. "He thought my anger over your affair would make me a useful weapon against Kane. He was right about the weapon part, but wrong about who would be targeted. You destroyed Altura. Hundreds of people will lose their jobs. People who had nothing to do with any of this. The research will survive," Cole countered. "The FDA won't discard a promising cardiac medication. They'll simply ensure it's properly tested and that patients are correctly warned about potential side effects. A more ethical pharmaceutical company will acquire the assets. And me? What happens to me in your revenge plan?" Tessa asked quietly. Cole stood. "You get exactly what you earned, Tessa. No more, no less. Meaning, I've provided federal investigators with a complete record of your involvement and non-involvement in Bradford's data manipulation. Unlike some, I don't believe in collective punishment. You'll face scrutiny, but likely emerge with your professional credentials intact." Cole gathered his tablet. "Your personal reputation is another matter entirely." Before Tessa could respond, Cole's phone buzzed. It was Dominic. "Bradford's private jet just filed a flight plan for Zurich," Dominic reported. "Departure in 90 minutes. Right on schedule," Cole noted. "Activate the final protocol." Tessa watched him, confusion evident on her face. "What final protocol?" Bradford's contingency plan was always to flee with his offshore millions if things went sideways, Cole explained. But fleeing requires a clear exit path. On cue, Cole's tablet displayed a breaking news update. Pharmaceutical CEO Bradford Reeves named in criminal complaint. Assets frozen worldwide. Tessa sank into a chair. "This is so much bigger than an affair or a public humiliation." "Why, Cole? What does any of this actually gain you?" "Justice," Cole replied simply. "Bradford used you to get to me. He used both of us in his war against Kane. He was willing to endanger patients' lives for profit, and he believed that wealth and power would protect him from consequences." Cole moved toward the door. "I need to go. I have one final meeting tonight." "With who?" Cole paused. "My parents." Chapter 8. Sins of the Father. The elegant restaurant overlooking the harbor had been Gregory and Diane Harrington's favorite for decades. Cole arrived precisely on time, observing his parents through the window before entering. They sat at their regular table, his father impeccably dressed in a tailored suit despite being retired for 5 years, his mother wearing her signature pearls, both of them radiating the polished confidence of people accustomed to respect and deference. "Cole, darling." His mother greeted him with an air kiss as he approached. "We were surprised to get your invitation, especially given the circumstances." "Son," his father acknowledged with a curt nod. "Quite the scandal you're caught up in. It's all over the news." Cole took his seat, noticing how his father had chosen the word caught rather than created or exposed. "I thought we should talk," Cole said simply. "Face to face, given everything that's happened." A sensible approach, his mother approved, sipping her martini. "Though I must say, your handling of the situation with Tessa seems rather extreme. Marriages hit rough patches, dear. Public scenes and corporate takedowns aren't how responsible adults resolve their problems." Cole studied his mother, seeing the calculation behind her concern. "You've spoken with Tessa recently?" "Of course we have," his father interjected. "She's distraught. Her career is in shambles. And instead of working through your marital issues privately, you've chosen to burn everything to the ground." "Interesting perspective," Cole noted. "When did loyalty to Tessa outweigh loyalty to your son?" Diane Harrington set down her glass with a sharp click. "That's unfair, Cole. We've always supported you." "Have you?" Cole asked mildly. "At the party, when Tessa publicly humiliated me, you laughed along. When she handed me scraps while serving everyone else a gourmet meal, you nodded in approval. She was under tremendous pressure," his mother explained dismissively. "Everyone says things they regret at times." "What she said wasn't the issue. It was that you endorsed it," Cole replied. "But then, you've always held Tessa in higher regard than me, haven't you?" His father's expression hardened. "That's absurd. We've always been proud of your accomplishments." "My accomplishments, perhaps, but never my choices," Cole countered. "You wanted a son who would follow the traditional path: law school, corporate ladder, country club membership. Instead, you got someone who built something innovative from nothing. And look where that's led," his father retorted. "Your company is successful, yes, but this vendetta against Bradford Reeves and Altura Pharmaceuticals will have repercussions. The business community has a long memory, Cole." Cole leaned forward. "You're concerned about repercussions to my reputation, but not about what was done to me? Interesting priorities." His mother reached across the table, her expression softening into practiced concern. "Darling, we only want what's best for you. This destructive behavior isn't healthy. Tessa made a mistake, certainly, but destroying her career and taking down an entire company in revenge won't heal what's broken between you." "Nothing between Tessa and me can be healed," Cole replied firmly. "But this isn't about revenge. It's about consequences." "Same thing, different name," his father muttered. "No." Cole shook his head. "Revenge is emotional. Consequences are logical outcomes of choices made. Tessa chose to have an affair with Bradford. Bradford chose to manipulate clinical trial data and endanger patients. Both of them chose to humiliate me publicly. Now, they're experiencing the consequences of those choices." His father's eyes narrowed. "And what about our choices? Are we experiencing consequences too? Is that what this dinner is about?" Cole met his gaze steadily. "Yes." An uncomfortable silence fell over the table. His mother broke it with a nervous laugh. "Really, Cole, you're being melodramatic. We're your parents. We've supported you your entire life." "Have you?" Cole asked again. "Let's test that theory. When I started Nexus Security, who invested in my company? Not you. You called it a risky diversion from a proper career path. When I developed the encryption protocol that eventually sold to the Department of Defense, who celebrated that achievement? Not you. You were too busy attending galas with Tessa's pharmaceutical colleagues. We were allowing you to stand on your own feet," his father insisted. "Not coddling you like so many parents do these days." "Coddling and basic support are very different things," Cole observed. "But the past is merely context. Let's focus on recent events. After the party, after Tessa's public humiliation, after discovering her affair with Bradford, did either of you call to check on me? To ask how I was doing? To offer any support whatsoever?" His parents exchanged glances. "We thought you needed space," his mother offered weakly. "No." You called to remind me how much my career had benefited from Tessa's connections and to suggest I consider the practical aspects of reconciliation. Cole's voice remained calm, but took on a steely edge. You prioritize my connection to Altura over my dignity and emotional well-being. You chose Tessa's career over your son's heart. That's a gross mischaracterization, his father protested. Is it? Cole removed a small recorder from his pocket and placed it on the table. Let's review, shall we? He pressed play, and his mother's voice emerged clearly. Cole, darling, I understand you're upset about Tessa's indiscretion, but you need to think practically. Your security contracts with Altura have been the cornerstone of your business growth. A divorce would jeopardize all of that. Sometimes in marriage, we must overlook certain disappointments. Cole stopped the recording. Would you like to hear what you said next, Dad? About how I should man up and handle this discreetly, because Bradford Reeves is not someone you want as an enemy? His father's face had reddened with anger. Recording your parents without consent? That's a new low, even for you. Interesting that your concern is about the recording, not about what you actually said, Cole noted. But don't worry, I didn't record that conversation illegally. My home office, where you called me, has always had security monitoring. There's a disclosure statement in the entryway of my house. You've walked past it hundreds of times. His mother's carefully maintained composure was beginning to crack. What exactly is the point of all this, Cole? To make us feel guilty? To punish us for not reacting exactly as you wanted? No, Cole replied simply. The point is to inform you of changes going forward. I've spent my life seeking approval from parents who consistently prioritized appearances over authenticity and others' success over my well-being. That ends today. What does that mean? His father demanded. It means our relationship will reflect the loyalty you've demonstrated. Cole's voice remained steady. I won't be attending family gatherings where Tessa is welcome. I won't be contributing to the family foundation that bears your name, but relies primarily on my donations. And I won't be maintaining the fiction that we're a close, supportive family when the evidence clearly suggests otherwise. This is childish, his father scoffed. You're punishing us because we didn't coddle you through a marital spat. No, I'm establishing boundaries based on observed behavior. Cole stood. You show me exactly where your loyalties lie. I'm simply adjusting my expectations accordingly. His mother's eyes filled with tears. Whether genuine or tactical, Cole couldn't be certain. Cole, please. We're family. Whatever mistakes we've made, surely we can work through them. Perhaps, in time, Cole acknowledged. But that process begins with honest recognition of those mistakes, not dismissing them as my overreaction. As Cole prepared to leave, his father grabbed his arm. You'll regret this approach, son. When this scandal with Bradford and Altura blows over, you'll find yourself isolated. No wife, strained relationship with your parents. Is that really what you want? Cole gently removed his father's hand. What I want is authentic relationships based on mutual respect and loyalty. If that means a smaller circle, so be it. And your revenge against Bradford and Tessa? Has that given you the satisfaction you sought? His father asked bitterly. It was never about satisfaction, Cole replied. It was about justice. Bradford's patients deserved safety. His employees deserved honest leadership. And I deserved better than what Tessa and you offered. He stepped back from the table. Goodbye, Dad. Mom, take care of yourselves. As Cole walked through the restaurant, his phone buzzed with a news alert. Breaking. Former Altura Pharmaceuticals EVP Tessa Harrington to testify against CEO Bradford Reeves in exchange for immunity. Cole smiled slightly. Tessa had always been a survivor. Outside, Dominic waited in the car. How did it go? Exactly as expected, Cole replied, sliding into the passenger seat. What's our status with Nexus Security? The government contracts are secured, and our private client list is growing since the Altura expose, Dominic reported. The business world is divided. Some think you're a corporate vigilante. Others see you as a necessary correction mechanism. Either way, our security services are in high demand. And Bradford, under house arrest, pending trial. His assets remain frozen. The evidence you provided to federal investigators was comprehensive. Cole nodded, watching the city lights reflect off the harbor waters as they drove. And the final package for Tessa? Dominic hesitated. Delivered to her attorney this morning. All evidence of her non-involvement in the data falsification, plus documentation of Bradford's plan to frame her if the problems became public. He glanced at Cole. She'll likely avoid criminal charges, though her professional reputation is entirely her responsibility to rebuild, Cole finished. I ensured she wouldn't pay for crimes she didn't commit. The rest is up to her. And your parents? Cole's expression remained neutral. They made their choice. Now they live with it. As they approached Cole's house, recently redecorated and purged of all reminders of his former life, Dominic asked the question that had been lingering between them. Was it worth it, Cole? All of this? Cole considered the question carefully. It wasn't about worth. It was about principle. Some people believe they can act without consequences, that money or power or family ties will shield them from the results of their choices. He gazed at the city below. They're wrong. Chapter 9. Ashes and Rebirth. 1 year later, the new headquarters of Nexus Security Solutions dominated the downtown skyline, its glass and steel structure reflecting the morning sunlight. Inside his top-floor office, Cole Harrington reviewed the quarterly reports with satisfaction. The company had tripled in size since the Altura pharmaceutical scandal, with government contracts and private security consultations generating unprecedented revenue. Dominic entered without knocking, their years of friendship having dissolved such formalities long ago. The Westridge evaluation is complete, he announced. Their security protocols were even worse than we anticipated. Full reports on your server. Cole nodded. And the other matter? Just as you predicted. Dominic handed him a tablet displaying a news article. Bradford's plea deal went through. 8 years, reduced to 5 with cooperation. The CardioFix formula has been acquired by Meridian Pharmaceuticals, with all safety issues properly documented and addressed. Any word on Tessa's involvement with Meridian? Consultant only, not executive staff. Her testimony against Bradford salvaged her professional credentials, but the industry memory is long. She won't hold a leadership position again anytime soon. Cole handed back the tablet. And my parents? Dominic hesitated. They've reached out again. 3 calls this week to your personal line, which continues to go directly to voicemail, Cole noted without emotion. They sent a formal letter too, Dominic added, placing an envelope on the desk. Your father's law firm letterhead. Cole stared at the envelope without touching it. Probably another attempt at reconciliation on their terms. Probably, Dominic agreed. Though it's been a year. People can change. They can, Cole acknowledged. But typically only when the consequences of not changing become too uncomfortable to bear. He finally picked up the envelope. I'll read it later. Their conversation was interrupted by Cole's assistant, Riley. Mr. Harrington, your 10 o'clock is here. Dr. Lauren Mercer from Meridian Pharmaceuticals. Cole straightened his tie. Send her in. Dr. Mercer entered. A striking woman in her late 30s with intelligent eyes and a confident bearing. Unlike Tessa's carefully calculated professionalism, Lauren Mercer's demeanor suggested authentic competence rather than ambition. Mr. Harrington, she greeted him, extending her hand. Thank you for meeting with me directly. Most security firms would have sent a sales team. Nexus isn't most security firms, Cole replied, gesturing for her sit. And Meridian's acquisition of the CardioFix formula makes your security needs unique. Lauren nodded. That's precisely why I wanted to meet you personally. Your role in exposing the data manipulation at Altura demonstrated not just technical expertise, but ethical commitment. She leaned forward. We're rebuilding public trust in a medication that can save lives, but only if patients can be confident in its safety profile. That requires absolute data integrity. I understand completely, Cole assured her. Dominic, can you walk Dr. Mercer through our preliminary security assessment for pharmaceutical research protocols? As Dominic began the presentation, Cole observed the interaction with interest. Throughout the scandal and its aftermath, he had maintained his professional focus, channeling his personal disappointment into building Nexus into an industry leader. The meeting proceeded efficiently, with Lauren asking incisive questions that revealed both technical knowledge and genuine concern for patient welfare. By its conclusion, Meridian had contracted Nexus for a comprehensive security overhaul. "One last question, Mr. Harrington," Lauren said as she prepared to leave. "Given your history with Altura, I have to ask, are you comfortable working with a company that employs Tessa Harrington, even in a consulting capacity?" "My issues with my ex-wife were personal, not professional," Cole replied evenly. "And my focus has always been on patient safety and data integrity. If Tessa's expertise contributes to those goals at Meridian, I have no objection." Lauren seemed satisfied with his answer. "I appreciated your direct approach. Perhaps we could continue this discussion over dinner sometime? Purely professional, of course." The invitation caught Cole by surprise, though he didn't show it. "I'd be interested in that, Dr. Mercer." "Lauren, please," she corrected with a smile. "I'll have my assistant contact yours for scheduling." After she left, Dominic raised an eyebrow. "Purely professional? Probably not," Cole admitted with the ghost of a smile. "But a year is a long time to focus exclusively on work." Later that evening, Cole sat alone in his home office, Bradford's unopened letter from his parents still on his desk. Finally, he slit the envelope open and read, "Cole, a year has passed since our last conversation. In that time, we've had ample opportunity to reflect on our failures, not as professionals or as social fixtures, but as parents. Your mother and I have spent our lives prioritizing appearances over authenticity. We valued others' perceptions more than our son's well-being. When you needed our support most, we instead calculated the social and professional advantages of maintaining connections to people who had betrayed you. There is no justification for these choices, only recognition of their fundamental wrongness. We do not expect forgiveness. We have not earned it. But we would ask for an opportunity to demonstrate that even late in life, people can recognize their failures and attempt to become better. Whether you choose to respond or not, know this. We are proud of the man you have become, not despite our absence of support, but in defiance of it. Your strength of character and commitment to principle revealed the poverty of our own. With genuine regret and hope, your father." Cole read the letter twice, testing each word for sincerity versus strategy. His father, the consummate lawyer, had always been skilled at crafting convincing arguments. Yet something in the phrasing suggested authentic reflection rather than tactical maneuvering. He picked up his phone, hesitated, then set it down again. Forgiveness, like trust, couldn't be manufactured or accelerated. If his parents had truly recognized their failures, they would understand that rebuilding a relationship required patience and consistency, not just a well-worded letter. Instead, Cole opened his laptop and began composing an email to Lauren Mercer, suggesting a date for their dinner. The past year had taught him valuable lessons about loyalty, betrayal, and consequences. But perhaps the most important lesson was that moving forward required selective forgiveness, not for others' benefit, but for his own. His phone buzzed with a news alert. Former Altura EVP Tessa Harrington submits resignation from Meridian Pharmaceuticals' consulting position. Sources suggest international relocation. Cole read the headline without surprise. Tessa had always been adept at recognizing when a situation no longer served her interests. Her departure from Meridian, and possibly the country, represented the final severance of their intertwined lives. He closed the news alert and returned to his email to Lauren. The future beckoned, not with the naive optimism of his younger self, but with the hard-won wisdom of someone who understood that true strength came not from avoiding pain, but from transforming it into purpose. Outside his window, the city lights glimmered like stars fallen to earth, countless lives intersecting, separating, colliding in patterns of consequence and choice. Cole had navigated his own pattern with unflinching resolve, emerging not unscathed but unbowed. In the end, the price of humiliation had been paid in full, not just by those who had inflicted it, but by everyone who had enabled or endorsed it. Justice, Cole had discovered, was not merely punitive but restorative, clearing the path for whatever came next. And something was coming next. Of that, at least he was certain. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen, and I'll see you there.